Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central. So we have a really good feeling about this week. The last few weeks, ever since Doomfist was launched, there has been a lot added into the game. And Jeff Kaplan, who for the most part has been fairly quiet recently, has come up for air to talk to the community about a lot of stuff, and we're expecting some other news from him as well down the line. In this video, we wanted to go over 5 things in particular that we are expected to see this week, just as a way to get people hyped up for the start of the week, and also to prepare yourselves a little bit. If there's anything that you think we've missed off this list, then do put it down in the comments below. But let's get straight into it.
So the first thing on our list is Jeff's big ranked post. This is something that he has mentioned a couple times, I believe, on the forums, and other people from the Overwatch team have also mentioned it in various Blizzard forum posts. Essentially, what we're expecting is a fairly lengthy post about changes made to punishments for leaving games and other types of penalties. There should be some changes made, but there have been talks of a long post just explaining everything. Obviously, these type of changes don't tend to be really in the patch notes that much, if at all, and they don't tend to really be visible in the game until you actually receive a penalty. So that is why Jeff will also post about it, and we are expecting that sometime this week, since Jeff and the Overwatch team have been hinting at these changes for a while, but also last week just said that they were basically right around the corner. So yeah, who knows, this week, potentially.
Another incredibly likely thing to happen at this point is Doomfist being released onto live servers. This of course means that the console players can finally get their hands on him, and generally it concludes the PTR testing element of Doomfist's play. I feel that the majority of bugs that Doomfist has experienced have been somewhat ironed out, but Blizzard might want to hold off for maybe another week before Tuesday, before they actually release this hero, but we feel currently that he's in a pretty good spot right now, and that players really want to see him on the live servers. Of course, bearing this in mind, it's probably going to be another 2 weeks before we get to play Doomfist in competitive, which lines up quite nicely to the end of Season 5. The addition of Doomfist has really kicked some life into Overwatch after a time where the game's feeling a little bit stale. So we'd say it seems fairly likely that we may see Doomfist added onto the live servers this week. We'd say Tuesday, but recently with PTR changes and the addition of Doomfist onto the PTR have always been on the likes of a Thursday and Friday. So if you don't see him tomorrow night, I wouldn't worry about it.
Next up, we have other PTR changes hitting the live servers. So essentially what we mean is not just Doomfist, but also the changes that are on the PTR that will then hit the live servers. And I don't imagine there will be too many tweaks. Overall, the changes make quite a lot of sense. Some of the buffs have been things that have been discussed for quite a while, such as the McCree flashbang change. So it seems fairly likely that these changes will go through and hit the live servers. Blizzard might tweak it again after they put it onto the live servers, but they seem fairly confident in these changes. They haven't really gone back on their word at all, and there hasn't been any sort of major outrage like we had in the past for certain changes. So yeah, these seem fairly likely to be going to the live servers, so we can expect the new Zarya Graviton Surge rules, the various buffs to heroes, and so on. So yeah, overall exciting stuff, and it seems likely that we'll get those changes this week.
Another thing to expect in the next 7 days is a change to Road Hog on the PTR. Now it comes as no surprise that the changes to Road Hog recently haven't gone down well with the majority of the community, but Jeff Goodman posted on a Blizzard forum saying that they're trying out some stuff with Road Hog and are focusing on some of the defensive aspects of his game. Now with the amount of changes that we've seen on the PTR currently, it would make sense to just keep adding more changes to do with Road Hog into the mix, and just to be a little bit more communicative with the community with, we want to try this out, let us know what you think, as opposed to not really saying much, putting out these changes and then getting somewhat of a backlash. I do feel that any changes to Road Hog down the line has to be met with the community and the Blizzard developers coming together to make sure that this hero fares well for what the community want, but also what Blizzard have in mind with him as well. Ultimately, I do think that Blizzard being quiet about Road Hog, putting out changes and then sort of putting their ear to the ground then when it comes to how it's going to affect the game isn't a great move, and the community desperately want to get involved with the changes and want to help out in any way that they can, whether that's actually giving feedback or just shouting on the Blizzard forums for any form of response. When it comes to future hero changes, it's really hard to gauge which ones might get changes. When it comes to future hero changes, it's really difficult to look at what heroes may get reworked, but certainly expect some news on Road Hog within the coming week.
And finally, we have other hero changes on the PTR. Essentially just more changes that are then put onto the PTR, so not onto live like we were talking about earlier. Blizzard are always experimenting with the PTR, and they seem to be going through a period of making diveable heroes stronger, essentially making those heroes that can get jumped quite easily just a little bit better at fending off enemies and just being able to take care of themselves a bit. We've also had some quality of life changes that have been discussed here and there, and it really wouldn't surprise us if we saw some more smaller changes to various heroes, and also just regular updates to the PTR, trying out various stuff. Overall, we really like Blizzard's approach to the PTR right now. It was back earlier this year where they sort of changed it around a bit and just started updating the PTR a little bit more aggressively and making changes that they would sometimes back out on, but hey, at least we got to try them out. Blizzard got to see what they were like. So I feel like seeing more of those types of changes doesn't seem that unlikely. And if a bunch of other PTR changes do end up going to the live servers, then it seems likely that the PTR would be updated as well later on into the week.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Do let us know what you're expected to see in the next 7 days within Overwatch. Whether you expect to see any of this, all of it, none of it, let us know below. And until next time, take care. We'll see you then.